Hi guys, today I'll be giving you a quick start into Vagrant. For this, we'll see what Vagrant is and I'll show you how the architecture of Vagrant is with a sample workflow, and then we will see the basic commands um, used in Vagrant, and then finally we will see how we can share the Vagrant environments using a cloud account. Okay, let's get started. Vagrant is open source software for building and maintaining portable virtual environments. We can create virtual environments or virtual machines using Virtualbox, VMware, and so on. So I will give you links in this description below for creating virtual machine using VMware and or Virtualbox. Now it's easy to create a virtual machine using said softwares. But if you have to share it with these virtual environments or virtual machines with your colleagues, and you need to write down all the steps how you created this virtual machine. So this is where Vagrant comes in play. Now, using Vagrant, you can create an environment with all softwares predefined or installed, and then using this created virtual machine, you can transfer it to your colleagues or to your clients or customers. Now this, the entire configuration of the virtual machine is written in a file called Vagrant file. Now here we see the basic terms or basic components used in the Vagrant architecture. Vagrant uses provisioners and providers. These are the two terms which you will see in the Vagrant world, and provisioners are the tools which allows the users to customize the configuration of the environment, meaning you can define in the virtual machine what softwares need to be pre-installed and to be archived or to be shared with your colleagues. The providers are the backends of this Vagrant and software, meaning Vagrant in its as itself is a wrapper of this backend backenders, for example, VirtualBox or VMware or Hyper-V and so on. Now, the whole configuration, the software, and the machine requirements are written in a file called Vagrant file. So here you see a sample workflow which we will be also using in this video, or which we'll also be seeing in this video. Is we define the whole configuration in this Vagrant file. Vagrant is a command line tool, and the whole commands will be taking place in the Vagrant CLI. And yeah, so as you see here, we'll be using VirtualBox as our backend. And here you see this base image, or it's called a box in Vagrant. So this will be downloaded from the cloud, and this in the base image we'll be performing some actions using shell and puppet. So for the installation of Vagrant, I've done another video. You can check out my other video for installing Vagrant on Ubuntu or Windows. Today we'll be seeing the working in Windows environment, but if you need to work in Ubuntu environment, since Vagrant is a command line tool, the same command applies. I've also created a demo application, a demo web application, and this you can find under my GitHub link, which is also specified in the resources section. And there are some few links, useful links, for example, Vagrant getting started link, and then the documentation link, and for searching for the boxes for the base image, you can use this app.vagrantup.com link. All these resources links, you find them in the description too. Okay, let's start. Let's get into Vagrant. Please check out my other video on how to install Vagrant. And yeah, let's see. Let's create a virtual environment, and let's see how it works. Or Vagrant, call it first Vagrant environment, and then I'll open my um, bash tool or command line tool, any editor. For example, in this case, I'm opening my PowerShell editor, and in order to initialize Vagrant, we can just type Vagrant init, and then we can define the box name. In this case, Ubuntu Focal 64. This is going to be the Ubuntu 20.04. And if you like to see how you create a Ubuntu 20.04 in VirtualBox or VMware, check out my other videos. The links for these videos. You can find them in the description below. Okay, looks like the Vagrant environment is created. And now let's go into the folder and see what the Vagrant file itself. And now here you can see the Vagrant file is created. You can open this using any editor of your choice. I'll be using Notepad++ in this case. Okay, here you can see that our VMware or the VirtualBox is created with Ubuntu Focal 64. And also you see here a lot of comments. And normally we can uncomment these things and define our settings. This is the uh, longer version of a background file, but if we were to create a shorter version, then we can do specify. Let me delete this file. Then we can specify minus minimal, and this will remove all the comments and just have um, only the initial box here like this. Okay, what's actually happening when I type the command vagrant in it? Vagrant in the background creates a new virtual machine. For example, when we go to the virtual box, in our case, here you can see a virtual box has been created here, or a virtual machine is created in the Oracle Manager. This is what Vagrant init does. And when I say now, in order to start this virtual machine, I just say Vagrant up, the command to start up the virtual machine, and it says here bringing machine default with VirtualBox as provider. And now it's importing the box. Actually here, now when I say Vagrant up, only then it starts creating the environment, and you can see here it's starting, and here's a preview of it. Okay, now the environment is created, it's up and running. So what Vagrant does is, in this case, when we fire up the Ubuntu system, it creates a user as username being Vagrant, uh, and this user has been added to the SSH group, and now we can SSH into this file, into this environment. Sorry. Okay, now we are in the VMware, or we are in the virtual machine which we just created. So as you can see here, the username is Vagrant and it's Ubuntu minus Focal as the host name. So our virtual machine using Vagrant, we logged into this virtual machine using SSH, and now we can also use the commands to halt it by using Vagrant halt to suspend um, the, to stop the virtual machine. Okay, now I want to suspend the state. Just keep it in suspended state now. It's done. Cool. I'd also like to show you how to use provisioners. In this case, I want to create an Apache server and host it using host an application using the server. So in order to do that, I'll be using shell provisioner, and let's define that in the virtual machine and the Vagrant file which we created. And before doing that, I'll start the um, virtual machine again. The virtual machine is restarted. Now I would like to install um, Apache server in this machine. So I can either do that here in the inline, or I can um, specify a file, a bash file, and this bash file, as you can see, will update the virtual machine and then install the Apache server, and also create a folder where we will push our application. Okay, now I'll be copying this, create a new files, call it as bootstrap.sh as shell file, then paste this command. Okay, now I've created this script file, shell script file. Now I have to call this in the Vagrant file. So the provision is going to be shell, and the path is going to be the bootstrap.sh, which we find it here. I would also like to forward two ports. This is going to be my SSH, and this one is where my Apache in the guest port will be hosted, but I want to have it um, in this network. Okay, actually I don't need this one. I just need to have one port being forwarded. Okay, and that's it. And I should also in the bootstrap file for the shell script we see here, there's going to be this folder will be transferred to this location. So now the idea of this Vagrant folder, this Vagrant folder is going to be the folder mounted to the virtual machine where the Vagrant file is located. Yeah, that means this folder here, which is the fast Vagrant environment, this folder will be mounted as Vagrant in the in the virtual machine. So I'll quickly show you how that looks like. Let me just transfer the application here. So Let me SSH into this environment, into the virtual machine. Yeah, now I'm in the virtual machine. I'm here at the root directory. Let me try again ls-a, and you can see here the um, different profile folders. But let me go to uh, and ls again, and here when I go back one level, I see here the Vagrant folder is mounted here. So in the Vagrant, let me go inside the Vagrant folder now. Not ls, sorry, it's going to be C. Apparently the tabs are not working. Okay, now I'm in the background folder. Let me see all the files here. Here you can see the boot in the background folder. Here we see a background file, bootstrap.sh and HTML. In this way, we can sync our folder in our virtual machine directly. Okay, now we have the application in the virtual machine, and we have updated our background file with this provision here. And yeah, let's try to see whether this provision is getting acknowledged by it. I can do that by saying vagrant reload minus provision. Since our virtual machine is already up and running, it's sufficient when we do a reload, and the minus provision flag is for the provisioners basically. All right, now here we see um, since with the reload of this, since with this command reload, we see here the machine got started, and here we can see it's getting updated, and then we install somewhere. I think about here. Okay. Okay, we see here Apache is installed and started. If everything has gone right, now we can open our local host, the location, localhost 4567. Yeah, super. This application runs in the virtual machine which we created using Vagrant, and we transferred this application using the provision shell. Yep, it works. So this is a simple demo to show you how powerful Vagrant can be in setting up an environment and also um, starting an Apache server, web server. Uh, how simple it is, yeah. Now, provisioner called Puppet. Puppet is it's an open source software tool which is used for configuration of virtual environments. Now, it's a very powerful tool, and it has a server client-based architecture. I'll be explaining this in another video, so please do watch that video too for more details on Puppet. And virtual backend also supports Puppet as a provisioner. So let's see how we can use this provisioner. In order to do that, I Okay, we have here a provision for installing the Puppet and another provision Puppet, which will define how the configuration or the or what we need to install in the virtual machine. Okay. Okay, let's create this install puppet.sh file here in this folder, our first Vagrant environment folder. New Vagrant environment, install puppet.sh, and here I just like to update my virtual machine and update install puppet -epsilon. Yep, these are the two commands which I want to have it in this file. Done with it. And now let's define what we need to see in the machine, in the virtual machine. So in this example, I'll be showing you how to install a Redis server, a MongoDB, and an empty directory. In order to do that, I'll be creating a folder called manifests. Excuse me, manifests. And within this folder, I need to create a file called default.pp. Default.pp. Now I open this file using Notepad++, and then I just copy the commands. Okay, now the default.pp is created. Let's see what's in this. What are the commands here? Now this .pp is extension for the Puppet files, and this uses a DSL language which is inherited from Ruby. And if you're familiar with Ruby language, this syntax is not so um, strange to you, but in other cases this work like this. We define an execute command here saying app-get.update, and the command is going to be this one. It's just an apt update which we'll be using, which is normal in Ubuntu environment, and this we will be requiring in our while installing our MongoDB as well as the Redis server. So like this and like this. Here we are installing the MongoDB package, and then we are starting the MongoDB package here. The same commands the similar commands is applied for Redis server, requiring the Redis server or the installing here and starting it here. Now at the last we see here just created a folder called my projects, and we're making sure this is going to be a directory, and it's owned by Vagrant the user, so that this user has the access to this folder and he can create and destroy the folder. Okay, now first let's go into this virtual machine using vagrant.sh and make sure this MongoDB and Redis are not installed. Just give it a sec. So in order to do that, I just keep MongoDB or which it is. Okay, it's not detecting. That means these are not installed. Okay, now since I've created this or updated the Vagrant file, I can use the command Vagrant reload and provision flag to include this Okay, now the virtual machine has been updated. You can see here in this line that MongoDB has been created and also the Redis server. And also a folder called My Projects has been created. Okay, now let's verify this by SSH into the machine. And now I can say which MongoDB or Mongo, and here you can see that this folder Mongo has been created using the Puppet. And I can also say Redis server. Yeah, Redis server has been created. Yep, and I can also check if the folder my projects has been created. Nope, that's not there. So I just need to check again where I have created it. So it's under Vagrant, my projects. So that is cd home Vagrant and ls here. You can see here that my project folder has been created. Okay, we saw how we created a virtual machine using Vagrant, and then we configured this virtual machine using different provisioners. The first one was Shell, and the second one was Puppet. And we see how powerful it is to define an environment, and now um, this environment is ready and it can be transferred to the colleagues, and the colleagues, the developers, then can focus on their building their application. Okay, in the previous section we saw how to create a virtual machine using backend, and we saw how certain provisioners are helpful in configuring the environment using VirtualBox as the backend. Now make it portable and to share it among your developers or team of developers or colleagues. The one simple way or quick way will be to create a free Vagrant Cloud account. If you do not have an account, you can just go to this create an account button and fill up the requirement and activate it. So I'll go into my to hope it's right. Nope. Yep. So I have this now. This cloud account, and yeah, if you do not have any boxes already, then it must be empty for you guys. And let's see how to get our environment here in this um, cloud account. And to make this whole virtual machine portable, now we have to first package the virtual machine, and this can be done using the following command: background package. And if you just make it as if you just leave without any other options, it'll create a default .box file or something. But I want to specify this file name as um, um, say second.box. can be uploaded to the cloud account. Okay, in order to upload it to cloud account, Vagrant offers a cloud API, also accessible via command line, and this is as simple as the following command. You can use Vagrant Cloud auth login, and it should ask you. It's already logged in. So I'm already logged in. That's why it says already logged in. You say log out, and let me try to log in again. Yep, now it's logged in, logged out, and I'm trying to log in again. In this case, it should ask you for a username or email ID. My username was Santosh202, and the password, yeah, password. You need to type in the password and token description. You can say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, now it's logged in. Create a Vagrant box here, a new Vagrant box, and I define it as second box. The upload is now completed. Now, if you see in the Vagrant cloud account, the virtual machine has been uploaded here. And you can see the description what we're given here, and using this command here, you can import it in the Vagrant file. And since this is a release version, it is accessible by everyone and it's publicly available. Now, when we go to the dashboard here in the Vagrant cloud, you can see the second box here. Super. Now, this whole environment has become portable. You can share it with your colleagues on developer team, and this is how you create a virtual machine using Vagrant and make it portable. Okay, in this video we have seen what Vagrant is, an open source tool or software which is used to develop and maintain a portable virtual environments. And we have seen the architecture of Vagrant using Vagrant uses provisioners and providers, and the whole machine and software specifications can be defined in a file called Vagrant file. We've also seen a sample working environment for Vagrant and use the basic and advanced commands. Basic commands like Vagrant init, Vagrant up to start the virtual machine, and Vagrant halt and suspend to activate the virtual machine states. And in order to destroy or remove the virtual machine, you can use the command Vagrant destroy. And while applying new provisioners, you can use the command Vagrant reload flag with flag provision. And we have also seen some advanced commands like packaging the virtual machine and uploading it to the cloud account. If you like the video, please do subscribe to my channel. And yeah, until next, bye bye.